Hey guys, so today we're going to install some rotors, and so I try to make some videos from time to time to hopefully be helpful. And today I got a 2004 Toyota Sienna, and I'm gonna try to do this as quick as possible. So I don't know if you can see in here with the lighting the way it is, but these rotors have grooves all in them. They're pretty shot. I'm gonna take the tire off here in a minute and look at it. But you need a jack, and when you jack it up, you'll actually roll this under the solid part of the vehicle. You want to put this under the frame, and there's lots of videos on how to do that. Actually, with this one, I will probably lift it right over here. Let's see. On this little spot, which is the suspension of the vehicle. So you'll need a clamp. I use a big one, and that's to tighten in the brake caliper. You'll need a set of tools, socket, and I'm not sure if it's a number 10 millimeter or not, tire iron, and then the brake pads here. So not tire iron, but this lug wrench. So you pretty much just size it up, and we'll break these off, spin them off. Once we break it off, then we'll jack it up. All right, so with the tire broken off, you crack this little seal right here, and this is where the brake fluid goes. And I just let that set on there, because when I push the brake pads back in, it'll push the fluid back through there. So we want it just enough to clear the ground. There we go. And I've already loosened those, taking the lug nuts off. So check it, make sure it's not going anywhere. Looks good. So then we'll essentially just roll the tire right off. So what we're gonna do now, I'm gonna go get a jack stand and put under here to keep this from falling on me. And on the back side, we'll loosen these calipers, take the brake caliper off, and get to the pads. All right, so what I've done is I put the jack stand under here, setting on the frame, and I'm gonna twist the jack handle, and it'll allow the vehicle to set. So it is now setting, resting on that jack stand, and I just put one little crank back down on the jack, the floor jack here, so it's supported with the jack and the jack stand. So now we're going to get up under here and take this screw off, this bolt right here, and then there's also one underneath on the bottom. Then we'll come back. All right, so I've taken this bolt out of the bottom. It went right here. I don't know if you can see that. And then I'm taking this top one out. So it's basically two bolts. Once I get that one out, this whole caliper will slide off, and then I'll come back. All right, so I took this off, but as you lift it up and set it up here out of the way, you can see brake pads. They're not terrible. They still have some life, but they're uneven. And this one here, it basically just, you can see this, it just push this through right off of the cylinder there. Comes right off. So as you can see, they're not worn that bad. However, my rotors are pretty worn. You can see the grooves. These could probably be resurfaced. However, I'm just going to replace them, and I'm replacing the brakes at the same time. So now this is basically hydraulic oil pressure. When you hit the brakes, it pushes the cylinder out, and the brake pad slides out, you know, on the inside of here, and basically rests against the pad or the rotor itself. Brake it to brake the car, slow it down and brake the car. So the rotor is just sets, it just rests on there. You can see it's had some better days. So I'm just going to replace these. So I'm going to put new rotors on, new brake pads, these right here, and here's one of the new rotors. You can see here, whoops, much nicer. So some new pads, and you can see the thickness of these. So they're almost twice as thick. All right. So we're gonna take the clamp, and I'm gonna put the clamp on that little, you can see that little cylinder, and press it all the way in, and then we'll come back. All right, so I've got the clamp. I put the back side on the back of this, and I've got it resting against this, and then you just turn it. And I can't do this with two hands, but as you turn it, it pushes this in. So I'm gonna pause it, push it all the way in. Well, actually it's kind of turning, so I'll just let it go here for a second, as long as I can balance this. So as you see, let's see there, it's just going, it's slowly just going in. And you just keep turning the clamp until it's all the way in, which is about right there. Stand, whoops. Back it out. And clamps off. So now the cylinder's pushed all the way in. So next we go put the brake pads in. We'll grab those and we'll come right back. So again, I may not be able to do this with two hands, but you essentially slide it down here in these grooves. Whoops. Oops. I don't know if you can see it right there. Push it in there, and then also down here. And I'm gonna have to use two hands, but basically you seat, see what this little clamp is, there's two of them. You seat the brake pad down inside of there and do one on this side and one on that side, and we'll come back. All right, so it took a little finesse, but as you can see on this side, brake pad is inside the little metal clips and seated all the way up against the cylinder. So then we'll go put the other one in on the outside, and we'll come back. All right, so we slid the other one in. As you can see, it's seated on the outside of the pad or the caliper. So you got a nice gap here with the two new brake pads. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put the rotor on, and then we're gonna turn the caliper around. Actually, it'll tilt down and slide over the rotor, and then we'll put the bolts back in and we will be done. So we're gonna come back, I'll put the rotor on first, and then we'll slide the caliper around. All right, so I got the new rotor on. It's looking great. I put one lug nut on here just to keep it from flopping around. And so now I'm going to take the caliper and we're going to tilt it. I'm going to try to do this with one hand. That's a little difficult, so bear with me. And it will actually slide on like so. And then we'll line up the bolt holes. And so the new brakes and new caliper will be on like so. So I'm going to set the camera down so I can put the one bolt in the top hole, and then I'll come right back. All right, so as you can see, I've got this one bolt going in the top hole right here. And I can't get to it while holding the camera like that. We're gonna put the second bolt down here. I don't know if you can see it. If I can feel it. Right here we go. Down here in the bottom hole, line them up. And then what I'll do is I'll tighten the caliper back down, snug it down really tightly. Once that's on, we'll jack it back up, put the wheel on, put all the lug nuts on, and we'll be done with this side. So, all right, so we got that on. So basically just come in here, we'll snug these down, that one, and then also this one at the bottom here. I can reach in there. I can't really see it. Let's see here. There we go. And I'm gonna use two hands and snug it down, but we're gonna tighten that bolt and then this bolt up here, and then we'll be done putting the caliper on. All right, so caliper's on, rotor's on. Take this lug nut off, and we'll put the tire on. So lug nut off, and we got to jack it back up a little bit. All right. Roll the tire over here and stick it on there. So once we got the wheel on, it is simply the reverse. Whoops. It's kind of hard to do with two hands or with one hand. So I'm gonna come back. I need two hands, but we'll put the lug nuts on and tighten it down. All right, so basically snug these down with the lug wrench. Again, kind of hard to do it with one hand, but you get the idea. So I can get all of these put down. Once I snug them down, we'll come right back. All right, so we got that snug down. Next thing we want to do is reach under here. I don't know if you can see that. Pull out. Oh goodness. Pull out the jack stand. So now, with the jack stand out, we've snugged down the wheel calipers on. Put these old ones in here. We can just lower the vehicle down. Roll that out. Now, once it's sitting on the ground, we go ahead and use both hands, torque these down, and we're done. So, hope that helped you out. If you need to replace the calipers and brakes on pretty much any vehicle is done in a similar fashion, but 2004 Toyota Sienna, that's how you do it. And then the last, I'm gonna go do the other side, but you be sure to put your cap back on and then put your hood down. Drive the vehicle down the road, make sure there's nothing squeaking, nothing binding, and you should have a very smooth ride, and it should last you several thousands of miles. So from High Point, North Carolina, thanks for watching. Steam Engines USA. Y'all have a great day.